Hello and welcome back to the Making Fire podcast. This is a podcast where two longtime besties talk about their favorite TV show, Survivor. This week, we are recapping episode 2 of Survivor 47. We're about to get into the dirty details, as one might say. But before we begin, Maddie, how are you?
I'm doing okay. As you can maybe tell from my voice and maybe be a little sniffly, I'm a bit feeling under the weather at the moment. Also my glasses. I don't normally wear glasses on the pod. Sort of like we'll get into what I want to talk about today, but like sensory wise, I don't know why I can't stand having headphones on and then my glasses and then like it all being on my ears is just kind of a lot for me. So what were you gonna say?
I thought you were gonna say, I don't know why I'm sick, and I was like, I couldn't imagine why you were sick either.
Oh yeah, I have no idea where I got sick from. I don't, maybe I was in contact with someone who was sick, who was sort of visiting me for a few days, but, who knows, really. But
I don't know. That's sort of why I was asking.
No, Riley
In unrelated news, I did just visit Maddie.
For a few days. Yeah.
Yes, it was so fun.
Crazy. Yeah, I feel like that's a whole thing we could talk about is how much fun we had. Did so much stuff.
We did so much stuff. We got our steps in.
Oh,
I did not have to bring the walking pad.
No, we were hitting well over 10,000 steps every single day. We were busy little bees. But what I want to talk about, that I brought up probably almost every single time we were in the car, is how I was getting annoyed with how long my nails were. For the people that know me, I always have my nails short because I just cannot handle them being long. Was a former nail chewer, all of that kind of thing.
And you know what? You powered through.
I did power through. And
Don't let that define you.
I have not bitten my nails in years on years. But I was like, I didn't really... Okay, we'll get into... Oh, let's just back it up. I always have my nails painted. But I just bought a new bottle of nail polish that I was really excited about. But it bubbles every time I use it and looks bad. So I was sort of in between, and I hadn't painted my nails in a while, and I was waiting to do them. Then Riley comes, and I didn't have time to do my nails. And then they sort of got kind of long, like multiple weeks grown out. And I was like, oh, should I be on my long nail journey at this point? How do people do it? How do people have nails that go past their fingertips? I truly could not handle it. I'm just like genuinely curious. Like, how do you do anything without like getting annoyed with them? My final breaking point was tonight at dinner. I had pizza. I made pizzas and like a tiny bit of sauce got under my nails and I was like, that's it. They're gone. Can't do it. And I was sort of like waiting until this weekend and I was going to try and paint them and then like see how I feel about that when I'm not like, I feel like part of the problem is like looking at the growth. I'm like, oh my God, that is so long. Even though I know it's really not. And like, I keep my nails very short normally. Anyways, in the 5 minutes before the podcast started, I did completely cut them all off. So, anyways, I know I have a lot of friends and like people in my life that love having long nails, and I'm just like, you know what? I appreciate you even more and what you go through to have long nails. So
you sort of walked a mile in their shoes, and you said, "Wow."
And I exhausted. Anyways, Riley, how are you?
I'm doing so good. Yes, everybody, I'd like to preface Maddie and I did just see each other. Maddie is sick, so don't say anything about that. But also, I haven't unpacked, and you can sort of see my little...
No, you can't. This camera cuts it off.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Okay,
yeah.
Then just make fun of Maddie for being sick. You can't really see my sort of mess behind me right now. But I'm doing so good. I did... So, again, okay, well preface in another sense. Again, Maddie was sick last night. Also, there's, sort of a lot of stuff going on. Our tech services' birthdays, this week, and there's a lot of things going on in that household. And also last night I did have about a 9-hour travel day. So, going into taking notes for last night's episode, just have that be open. Mm-hmm. We're sort of open communicative about our our current situations, and we just want everybody to have an open mind.
So real. Also, we kind of forgot our big surprise was that we were going to record something in person together, and then we sort of didn't do that. So.
Yeah.
Sorry to
Maddie
let
did have an
everyone
idea,
down.
and I sort of said, how about we do a different idea, and then it just didn't end up happening. So I feel like 75% my fault, 25% sort of maybe Maddie's fault for not sort of reeling it in and having control. But
Having a better idea.
yeah. Exactly. So, how am I doing? Well, I just thought, my New Year's resolution for this season is I'm trying to be quick and concise. And I said, oh my God, let me talk about my fun magnet collection that I've started this summer.
Yes.
Because I did, in fact, just show Maddie. I did remember when you asked me, you said, what are you going to share? And then I remembered what I was going to share was I was going to show you my magnets on pod. And then I realized that I did just, in fact, show you them. But I'm just going to do the haul of the magnets I got this summer to be really quick. I love this idea of getting magnets for places that I visited as an adult and start my own magnet collection. That was something sort of my family did when we were younger. We had magnets on our kitchen fridge, one might call it. A refrigerator is the more technical name. But I just wanted to show what I got. I'm going to sort of block out the city name on this one. But this is oh wait, do we know where you live?
I don't think so. State you can show for sure.
Okay, state. That's what I meant. Okay. So, yeah, I wasn't about to dox the city you live in. Anyway. So I got this cute little, Wisconsin cow.
I love him.
Because it's sort of like the dairy, I'm assuming like it has to be the dairy capital of the world. Do we know if that's a fact?
It is America's Dairyland. That's what
well,
it says.
and I'm about
That's
to
what
show
it's going to
you.
go ahead and say on
this magnet, my other one I got. This one was my favorite of the bunch. But then I was like, I need one with the specific city that I visited, so I went ahead and got this one as well.
I love this.
And we'll just do a quick sort of run through. The last trip I went on, I went to Canada, and this is our favorite island. This is gonna go ahead. That was gonna go ahead and be upside down when I just showed you. This is Granville Island in Vancouver, Canada, BC. One of my favorite places to travel.
I've never been to Canada.
Love Canada.
I want to go so bad.
We need to go. I could spend. It makes me happy. We just went 2 weekends ago, and I left, and I'm like, I want to stay there all the time.
Yeah.
It might be one of my favorite vacation spots. Anyway.
It's beautiful. I've also heard it's one of like the most expensive places to live ever.
It is. This is a heavy conversation we have sort of every time we go to Canada. We look at the houses and I'm like, these are not multi-million, but $1 million homes everywhere. All these homes.
Yeah.
Anyways, I did, as you guys are all familiar, I did a big California trip this summer. And so these are going to go ahead and this is one of my San Diego magnet. I also got this one. This is a handmade one from Mexico because San Diego's sort of near the border.
That's so pretty.
And then I got this San Francisco magnet.
Oh, I love
has
the
these
little charms.
And then we went to Los Angeles as well. I have this broader Los Angeles one.
Cute.
And then we were shopping on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I thought I need to memorize this moment of just being on the Walk of Fame. So I got this sort of Walk of Fame magnet. So that's sort of the collection I've started from. Oh, I don't have it. We did go to a zoo, and I do have a magnet from the zoo, but it's gonna go ahead and be in my luggage.
I forgot about that. Unpack. That is a great magnet as well. Oh, but so yeah, we went to a very fun zoo.
We did. We got to see some. Exactly. For those who are just listening to the podcast and not watching, we sort of just like moved our fingers around. Anyway. Let's just get
that was our little monkey impression.
Our orangutan specifically. We saw a rhino. Y'all, that was crazy.
Period.
You won't even guess what we saw. It was crazy. But yeah, I think are you ready to talk about some Survivor as I'm slowly putting these magnets back on the shelf that they were just on?
I'm so ready to talk about Survivor. This was the first time that I've watched an episode that we discuss on the pod, and I took 0 notes. I'm kind of going with a Riley perspective today.
This is sort of what I come in and not take any notes, but I did watch.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I did come in with notes today. That was our agreement. So I do have notes for today's episode. Well, let's get into it. What a fun episode. I'm really enjoying this season so far, and there's a lot of silly moments. So we start And one of my favorite things, I thought this was so silly. Rome is highlighted a lot this episode.
Yeah, he is.
So exciting. I'm kind of glad he was one of the options for my winner pick. Obviously, we know my Queen Genevieve didn't get a single confessional this episode, riding strong. But Rome was one of the options, and I'm sort of glad I went the other direction with that and chose Genevieve, the mastermind of the season.
Okay, here's the thing I've been seeing a lot online about what's up with where's Genevieve. And I think it's interesting. Some people are like really freaked out. They're like, oh my god, she's gonna quit. Oh my god, blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of like not worried about it though, because I'm like, if she was gonna go home soon, I feel like they focus a lot more on them or like give them more screen time. And so I'm like, I think she's good.
I agree. Maybe, and this might be wild, is she getting an Erica edit?
That's what I've also seen people talk.
You know, Erica got severely under-edited in the pre-merge and then sort of popped off in the post-merge. I don't think that's true. Do I feel like
I think it was maybe not to this extent.
Yeah, we're sort of like not hearing from her at all. There's sort of a couple people we're not hearing from, which I think is interesting because I think the last couple seasons have been doing well in highlighting everybody at least a little bit. That's not necessarily the case yet, but maybe it'll progress. But Rome, I loved. Rome got a lot of time this episode, but one of my favorite things was he was looking at the Fiji sunrise at the beginning of the episode, and he went, wow, it reminds me of the sunrises in Phoenix. And I went, the Fiji sunrise, sort of similar to the Phoenix, Arizona sunrise, is interesting, an interesting comparison, but to each their own. It is the same sunrise at the end of the day.
Wow.
That was kind of like...
That was kind of deep.
We should put that on a t-shirt, I think. Guys, subscribe to our Patreon if you want early access to merch.
So you said, so that's going to go ahead and be the same sunrise.
It's going to go ahead and be the same sunrise, just different times of the... Well, yeah, different times of the day.
Yeah.
That's how the sun works.
Yeah.
Guys, my watch was in Pacific Standard Time the whole time we were in Wisconsin, so that was sort of a fun game. I realized today I went to see when I'm working next week. Realized when we were talking about in the car, I went ahead and put those in while I was in Wisconsin, so the time was a little off. I went, these are really weird times for me to start and finish at work. Anyway, so Rome is starting off the episode great. We get a peek in to Rome's mind. We see that Rome is telling Teeny about the idol clue. And I thought maybe sans Gabe, it was going to be sort of a tight, locked ship. Well, not even Gabe. Who was that? Did Gabe tell anybody about... Who walked up on Gabe last episode? It was...
Oh, it was it Asia?
Yes, Asia walked up. And so then... No, not Asia. Asia's not on the Blue Tribe. It was... Gabe and TK. TK walked up onto Gabe last episode.
I forget who's on what tribe still. So.
Yeah, it is a little complicated. But Gabe was sort of looking for the key, or found the key, but didn't find the Beware advantage. And he was like, TK. Yeah, that was sort of the vibe. But Rome, but nobody knows exactly about the Beware advantage on the Blue Tribe. Rome sort of chooses to let Teeny in, because he is really wanting to work with Teeny. And I wrote, Rome telling Teeny about the idol clue. Oh, New School Survivor era is back. Y'all thought we were getting away with it. We're not getting away with it.
He said, I'm going to go ahead and tell someone about this right now.
Right, actually, right now. We're going to sort of wake people up, get them going. And then we cut, and Teeny is now really likes Keyshawn.
Uh-huh.
And pulls Keyshawn and is like, look at this box that Rome found. And they're sort of reading it and taking it all in for themselves. And who comes out from the other side? We're gonna go ahead and see Rome walk up on them.
I think Teeny handled this interestingly. I think I would have maybe had a different approach. I think I would have said something like, "Oh my God, Rome actually found it himself. He was like digging around looking for clues." And he stumbled upon it, and so then I had to go ahead and clear that up. I don't know if I would have taken... I mean, like, love the honesty.
Love honesty.
Love the honesty. But I don't know. What would you have done?
I don't know if I would have shown Keyshawn at all.
Yeah.
I think I would have been like, this is something we're currently working on.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more information. I'm keeping you in the loop because I want to work with you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would have shown him at all. And then I feel like they had a good. They were like, "Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun. I really wanted us three to be like the core three, and I got ahead of myself. I should have asked you." I don't know. That is it was a little shady.
Also, Keyshawn just kind of standing there like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, it wasn't great for either of them, and it sucks that Keyshawn sort of got pulled into it. But this was messy. This was sort of a messy episode for some people. I was like, this is quite. I was like, okay, this is hard to watch just a tad bit, but. We leave. Rome is like, I know that I can't fully trust Teeny now. XYZ. Yeah. We come over to the blue tribe, which is not the Gada, Lavo, Gada, and Tuki.
Tuku.
Tuku. Sort of fun name. Tuku. And we see that they found a crab, which was so exciting. A fun little breakfast meal.
Yum. How do you feel about crab?
I'm not a big shellfish lover.
Yeah.
Love shrimp. Love shrimp.
I've actually never had shrimp. I'm a little bit scared to try.
Oh, you've never had shrimp?
No. I've tried crab. I love a crab cake that's more cake than crab. I tried lobster for the first time recently. Was not a fan. Yeah.
Can I share a personal anecdote, a real quick one?
Yes, of course.
One time, we were at my grandma's beach house, and my cousin and uncle had come back. They had just caught a bunch of crab, and I was sort of, I was in that moody, probably like 14, 15 era, 13, 14, and I don't eat crab, and I know I don't eat crab. And everybody was sort of outside, like my grandma, my mom, my siblings, my cousins, my uncle, were sort of all out there cleaning the crab. And I said, I don't want to clean the crab. I'm not going to eat the crab. I know I don't like crab. Why would I help you guys clean the crab if I don't like it? And then it sort of got heated. People were sort of mad at me for not helping. And I was like, I truly don't understand why I need to be out there helping you guys.
And aren't there enough of you?
Aren't there enough of you? And y'all are going to eat it anyway. Like, I don't get it. And then it got heated, and then sort of my mom came and talked to me, was like, you should come outside, like, spend family time. And I was like, no, I don't really want to. And then my uncle came and talked to me, and he was like, you should really, like, you need to come out there. And I was like, no. I'm not going to eat the crab. I don't want to clean it.
Yeah.
And I sort of stood my ground, and, that was a really empowering moment for me. Did I end up cleaning the crab? No. Did I end up eating any of the crab? Also, no.
Look at you, standing on business.
And this is how I know I wouldn't do well in Survivor, because that would be me. They'd be like, we need to work together, clean the crab. I'm not going to eat the crab. Y'all can clean the crab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Empowerment. Oh, I love women empowerment. Sort of she-they empowerment, if you want to be specific.
Yes.
TK wants strong people at the merge. He really likes Kyle. He likes Gabe. Not fully. He's like, Gabe is there, but he really likes Tiana and sort of wants Tiana to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
Tiana admits that she's scared of a bromance, which I think is the reoccurring thing on this tribe, is this idea of a really scary bromance. And TK assures Tiana, he's like, I promise you will not be on the bottom. We don't want to work with Gabe, but we sort of need Gabe as a number at this point. And I think that's, like, a positive way to approach it, I guess. Like, making sure Tiana knows she's not on the bottom.
Yeah.
Because I think that is a concern. But Tiana says she feels up until that point that there had been a gender divide, but Gabe has probably shot himself in the foot with this group.
And it's like, you still don't know these people well. So,
yeah.
I mean, TK might be saying that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it would be true.
At some point I wrote in here that it is probably only day 4 or 5. Like, it's still very early on.
Yeah, I think the challenge was day 5.
Yeah, so this is probably day 4.
Yeah.
Esque. And I was like, or maybe, yeah, I was like, this is really interesting. There's a lot happening. A lot of people planning for the long term when it's still very early in the new term.
Yeah.
And we're doing a lot of this tribal divisions when I'm like, I'm sure that there's going to be a swap at some point or some sort of shakeup with the tribes.
And it's also interesting to see how people want to do, like, make their alliances and figure out the numbers when they haven't even been to tribal yet. Because it's like, you can plan so much, but until you're in that position, you don't really know how things are actually going to shake out.
Yeah, I think that this group of castaways is having a really hard time sort of trying to draw the lines now. Like, we have to sort of make the divisions now, but you're overthinking it. Like, you're still in the if you haven't gone to travel yet, you're still in the honeymoon period.
Like, get to know these people. See who you actually want to work with.
Exactly. So it's interesting to see the Blue Tribe so deep into it. I wrote this last episode when I thought I was taking notes, but then I didn't end up. I sort of wasn't supposed to the one to take the notes. I wasn't supposed to be the one to do that. So I didn't really get to share this note last episode. But I do think Kyle reminds me very much of JT.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is a comparison that is happening. I haven't been keeping up too much on Survivor Twitter this season. I'm sort of, especially since I'm trying to disconnect myself, because I found myself in the past couple seasons that sometimes I'd bring thoughts to the podcast that were other people's thoughts, and I'm like, I want sort of my thoughts to be this podcast. So I'm sort of stepping back a little bit, but I'm sure this is a comparison that is happening on the line.
Yeah, probably. I was on there a little bit yesterday when I was homesick from work. So.
Of course. Again, I do apologize for that. And, well, you were sort of being like, I don't want to go to work on Wednesday.
No, I really was saying that.
And you're welcome.
My wish sort of came true.
It did, really.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, I think Kyle gives me sort of golden boy energy. And, like, country, good old, I don't know. Good old boy is not necessarily a phrase that I don't think people are clamoring to be used about them these days. But I do feel Kyle gives good JT energy. So I'll be interested to see. He's not getting a lot of screen time, sort of like our girl Genevieve. Kyle is definitely on the lower end of the people in his tribe, but
yeah, not necessarily a bad thing.
No, of course. We flash over to the Gata tribe, and we're getting this highlight that Andy needs constant approval and affirmation. He's kind of like, and I wrote, a dog or a baby. Annika compares him to a toxic boyfriend who needs his constant approval.
I know. Someone else said that he's definitely a words of affirmation guy. That's definitely his love language. I just, like, could not deal with this.
No. And I know that's part of the game is you sort of have to deal with people, but I'm also like, this is one person on a tribe of 6. Well, I guess now 5. But I'm like, I should not be catering the way I play this game to keep you specifically happy.
I feel like they're also so early in the game to having to have to babysit.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
And that's just not
I'm like, what is Andy offering to specifically Rachel, Sierra, and Annika? Like, he's not offering anything to them. So it's like, why do these 3 women have to sort of babysit him and watch over him when he's not offering to them anything for their games? I think we saw this with, like, Banu and Kenzie last season. And that was sort of a relationship. And Q and who sort of took Q under, I guess, Kenzie a little bit. I don't know, but like
I'd say, what was her name?
Was it Liz?
No.
Tiffany.
Who's Tiffany's friend? Her ride or die.
You mean Maria? It was Maria.
No.
It was Maria.
Oh, well, it ended up being Maria.
And it did end up being Maria.
Who did Banu plead to? Please.
Banu pleaded to Tiffany.
Tiffany! Did you say Tiffany already?
I did, and you said, who's Tiffany's friend? And I went...
No, I meant Kenzie's friend.
Yes.
I don't think Anyways. Oh, what was I gonna say?
Ooh, not the boar worms.
Andy, you can keep going if it comes back to me.
So I just don't think Andy has a lot to offer to specifically the women on his tribe. We will.
Oh. The difference is that Banu was, like, more funny and cringy, where Andy is, like, just not fun in this moment. You know what I mean?
It was just the National Bi Day of Visibility.
Yeah, a few days ago.
A few days ago. So happy Bi Day of Visibility, Andy. He famously he is bisexual.
Famously, yes.
So moving on. Andy. So the again back to Ambi and anyway, like we were just up talking about and observing, Andy isn't really offering anything to the women on his tribe, but him and Sam are two peas in a pot.
Yeah.
Sam and Andy have a relationship forming, and Sam tells Andy that he should not look for the beware advantage, that it's going to put a target on his back, and Sam's looking after Andy.
Yeah.
I feel like Sam is the popular jock that Andy has always wanted attention from.
That's a really good comparison to make.
That's what I was watching, and I was like, what this is giving right now is that Sam is sort of like the charismatic,
The popular
kid, into sports, and Andy has always sort of wanted that validation from that person.
Yeah, because one thing Andy wants is validation.
And that's why I'm like, I wonder if this is why. Sorry guys, I just realized my lips are so shiny. My lips are so dry. Like, I woke up this morning and I was like looking in the mirror and I was like, I can't smile.
Is that because of airplanes?
Maybe. Probably because I've been, blowing my nose a lot and sort of like, not with my hand. That was supposed to be like a paper towel situation. But I think that's
Is that how I got sick?
Oh yeah, because I've just been sort of wiping up with my hands. And
Yeah.
like going like, and then I would sort of like wipe it on you.
Yeah.
You know that anyway. So Andy, Sam, fun relationship. Sam said, "Don't look for that beware advantage, y'all. It's not going to do you well." And then Sam is sort of like, "I have to go to the potty, BRB." He has to go TT.
You got it. TT or Tata?
Sam got to go TT, so he went TT. And then Andy's left alone and says, "LOL, you'll never guess what I'm about to do." And he runs and he goes to look for the said beware advantage.
Truly like a little toddler.
I know. It's kind of giving me the ick just a tad bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then Sam's going to go ahead and come back from his TT break and go, "Oh my god, where did Andy go?" So we cut to Andy, though, and he finds the beware advantage.
He does. He does find it.
He does find it, and he chooses to not grab it.
He says he wants to think about it.
He's going to think, because Andy famously thinks before he does anything.
It's so true.
And he said, "I'm going to come back and think about this, what's best for my game." And that's sort of that there. We go to break, come back, and
he's just an indecisive guy.
Yes, Andy seems pretty indecisive. We'll get a little bit more into Andy and how he lives his life in a bit. We'll talk about Andy paranoia soon. But we go to break, we come back, and we're with the Lavo tribe. And Rome is one who wants to do it all.
Yeah.
Wants to make the fire, wants to do all these things. The big thing is the fire, and he's sort of taking his time.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's okay. Like, I probably wouldn't be able to do it right away myself.
Right.
How about you?
Well, I feel like if I were to go on Survivor, I would, like, actively be practicing.
So you're better than Rome, is what you're saying.
Would you not?
I would. But you're saying you could do a better job than Rome.
Not in the moment. Not right now. Give me 3 days.
Have you ever gone to the omelet station for breakfast?
Oh my god. Actually, relating to fires, not omelets, I have never. Okay, wait. There's a couple things I want to talk about with a fire really quick. One, freshman year of high school, English class. We had to make a presentation, a little how-to step-by-step tutorial on how to do something. I did how to make a campfire.
I remember
And I had not made a campfire before. I just Googled it and made a little presentation. Two, we were camp counselors. And
so true.
there's one little thing where you are supposed to make a fire at your shelter. And every year I did it, I had kids that were like really into it and knew how to make a fire, and I just sort of let them do it. So I've actually never built a fire.
I also never. Okay, my problem is sorry if any kids are listening to this that were my kids at side camp. I just always got put with the weird kids. That was sort of my brand as the token gay camp counselor. They sort of gave me all the leftover kids.
Not the leftover kids.
Well, it's true,
No,
and I had so much
wouldn't say
fun.
they were leftovers.
Talking about my siblings specifically.
Which was so sweet.
They did get to pick either me or the other token gay camp counselor, and they picked me.
Well, but they put you guys together once.
Our first year, which I still think back that was a terrible idea, specifically because neither of us had done it before. And they said, it would be a great idea if we put two new people together.
Yeah.
It's because we were both gay.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how casting works on Survivor.
That's why,
I got all the weird kids that never knew how to do anything, and they wouldn't focus during class. So I never once in the 3 years I did it, we had to do this one sort of class period about compasses and following directions. My groups never finished because they never knew how to use the compass. And I said, guys, this isn't for me. I don't know how to use a compass. I'm here to make sure you guys don't die in the wilderness.
yeah. I usually got the overly competitive kids.
Yeah, that wasn't for me.
Really needed to finish that.
Yeah, and I was also, unfortunately, and still am, not unfortunately, but I love my body, overweight. And so sometimes running necessarily around the wilderness on a hill, and again, another reason why you probably will never see me on Survivor, because sort of physical activity can be hard for me. Strenuous physical
I
activity.
thought you wanted to go on Survivor.
No, I would love to, but I just think they look at my application and they're like, I don't know how you physically can kind of like... Do you see a lot of people with my body type on Survivor? Not necessarily, no.
I don't know. I don't see bodies. I see personalities.
You are truly the ally of the month. You really are. Like, you need a plaque or something on that wall behind you.
We should have bought a trophy at that estate.
We should have, and we could have made it so you could have been ally of the month.
Well,
ally of the month, September 2024 is Maddie.
Mine. Thank you.
Back to Survivor, y'all. Sorry, this is sort of a trend we're noticing when I am in the one of sort of in charge of episodes. We sort of tend to go off.
But I'm the one that let us down that, so it's not your fault.
So true. I'm glad that you admitted that. We see Rome, and everybody seems to be annoyed by Rome. Everybody knows he has the idol at this point, and they want him gone, and they would sort of go for that if he wasn't the one that had the idol. Mm-hmm. Which is upsetting.
And isn't his only for one?
At this point, yes.
Well, I don't think you get to choose. I don't think you get to take these
yeah, you don't get to like go back. Yeah.
So I think that's also really unfortunate. Is like,
has he gone in? I don't think he had gone into the box yet.
I thought he chose to have the one. I could be totally wrong though.
Oh. Yes.
Because then I thought they were like, oh well, we know he's gonna play it.
Yes, for some reason I forgot that when you open the box, that's when the number one is the first one. You don't have to complete the second. You don't have to complete the puzzle to get
Did one of them completed more? Or was it going to?
I don't think anybody did.
Really? No, one of them
Gabe
for
did.
sure.
Gabe did.
Gabe did. But Gabe played it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So.
Sorry.
We go back to the Yellow tribe. And the Gata tribe. And Sam and Annika are going around. Sam was like, he was running around earlier. We have to find this beware advantage before Andy finds it. And so they're looking around, and Sam finds it in the tree branch that Andy left it in, y'all. The one that Andy put it back. Sam came up and found it, and he took it immediately.
Yeah.
Took it immediately. Didn't even hesitate. Opened it up. Didn't even walk away. And I wrote, oh, I know Andy's gonna piss himself.
I feel like it just. I feel like I would always just take it. Because, like, even if you lose, like, the worst thing that's going to happen is you lose your vote, right? Mm-hmm. For a tribal. Like, if you just give up, you know?
Unfortunately for Andy, I do feel like that risk is maybe something that will get him sent home if he doesn't have a vote.
Yes, but, like, I would almost rather have whatever it is and, like, know that you have it versus, like, the unknown of, well, who's gonna have it, you know? I guess maybe this is the new era where information about this is, like, not kept a secret at all, so maybe it's fine. But I don't know. I feel like I would take it.
Can we give a flashback and an applause? I know you absolutely hate her and despise her, like, sort of as a person. Flashback to Marianne.
Oh my god.
And flashback to Marianne being able to keep her idol a secret for the whole game. Nothing has gagged me more in a Final Tribal Council than Marianne pulling out her idol that nobody knew about.
Yeah.
Even though you hate her, I think we should still give her time.
That is so not true. Once again, have to clear the air. I do not hate Marianne in the slightest.
Allegedly. Moving on, Sam finds it and opens it, and him and Annika are running around. And they're looking for this box, whatever. They find it.
Uh-huh.
And Sam immediately tells Sierra.
Right.
And is like, blah, blah, blah. And I found it. I'm so excited. We have to open it. Sierra says, wait, Annika knows? Annika's probably telling Rachel. And then they're like, you think? Cut. Annika is in the middle of telling Rachel.
I love that editing.
It was so good. And Rachel is like, oh my god, I have to act surprised when he tells me. It's a whole thing. And then Sam to Sierra, he's like, you're right. I have to get onto this before. So Sam knows he has to tell Rachel, so then Rachel doesn't feel left out and feels like she's being lied to, which I thought was really smart on Sam's part.
Yeah.
To sort of recognize
that. He knows that the girlies are going to talk.
Of course. One thing the girls love is a little bit of a goss. A little bit of a goss sesh, a little bit of a Caitlin Goslin. Kate Goslin moment.
Kate.
I think that's what we should start calling gossip. A little bit of a Kate Goslin moment.
I'm in.
So, some Kate Goslin. Interesting stuff. And so then everybody on this tribe knows but Andy. And we cut to Andy. Andy has now decided that he, in fact, wants the beware advantage, and he's going to go for it. So Andy's sort of making his way over to the branch, and he's like, oh, I can't remember exactly where it was. Finds the branch and goes, huh. He said, so the beware advantage is going to go ahead and not be there.
Right.
Gonna go ahead and not be there anymore. And that I said, this is possibly the worst person that this could have happened to.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
But also the best person for it to happen to.
Oh, best
I feel
person?
like his reaction
Yes.
and just like how he works through things is so funny.
So funny. Definitely for TV, I feel like was great.
Yeah.
Sam and Rachel worked through the knot puzzle that they had, and they got the key for the box, which was super exciting. And Andy goes up to Sam and is like, Sam, I have to tell you something. I found the beware advantage earlier, did not take it. Put it back, it's now gone. And
One of the girls.
Sam has to give the performance of his life. He goes, oh my god. He says, OMG. It's so preppy in here.
It's so preppy in here.
It is so preppy in here. And Sam says, I did musical theater, and of course we did a lot of singing, but one thing about musical theater is you also have to act.
Right.
He's going for the Oscar this season.
Yeah.
Sam is so happy that Andy thinks it's one of the girls. And I do feel like that this is really, I think this is great for their long-term working relationship because Sam now knows that he can low-key trust Andy because the first thing, well, not the first thing, because it's not like Andy found it and then went to Sam right away. But when Andy knew something was up, the first person he went to tell was Sam.
Yeah, and that's gotta feel good.
Which I think is good for Sam and sort of realizing that Andy will be a good number for Sam. I think that helps Sam in the long run, helps Andy in the long run, sort of his own longevity in the game. Because now Andy has gone from somebody who didn't really have a role on this tribe to somebody who is now positioned himself as Sam's pawn, possibly. Sort of shield. So I think he unknowingly helped himself that way. I also think it's good because we have yet to see it in this game. I don't know how well Andy could have lied about this.
I would love to see Andy try and lie.
And I imagine he would have gone a little power hungry had he had the idol. In a not fun way to watch, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I think this is sort of a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
A little bit. I don't know if I wrote this down. Oh, no, I did. We'll get there. Okay. We go back over to the Tuku tribe. And Kyle, TK, and Tiana are clearly standing out as a trio.
Yeah.
And Gabe knows that he is pulled in as a fourth. They're talking in the water, Kyle, TK, and Tiana. They are chit-chatting in the water, and Gabe sort of comes up in the background, and TK is like, we should pull Gabe in so he doesn't think he's on the bottom, whatever. And they're talking about how if they go to tribal, Sue is the one that needs to go.
Yeah.
Miss Susu.
Miss, owns a flight school.
She's a baddie in her own right.
She is. And she knows it.
She does know it. They are like, Sue has to go. And Gabe's like, yeah, for sure. Gabe isn't going to let Sue go. That's his mom at this point. And we're sort of seeing the edit at this point in the episode that TK is standing out for a little bit of the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Also, I don't feel like Sue was that bad in challenges, right? Like, I visibly remember in the first challenge she did really well.
Yeah, she fully, like, carried one of those blocks on her back and sort of ran out of the forest onto her mat. And Jeff was like, look at Sue go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think it was like she's just a little bit of an outcast, and they're sort of using her physical capabilities, ageism, as a way to justify that.
Yeah.
Gabe knows that, and so he really wants to grab Caroline. He wants to get comfortable with Caroline because he's pretty good with Sue at this point. But he's like, I need Caroline to know that I'm with her. And Caroline fully, and I was like, this is messy. Caroline fully was like, I don't fully trust you. And I was like, Ms. Ma'am, you do have to sort of realize where you're at socially, which I think she does understand. But I'm like, you have to understand that he's sort of putting out an olive branch, and sometimes you do have to take risks in who you trust and when and why you trust them.
I do kind of like Caroline though.
Oh no, I do too. I did you watch Ghost Island? Have you watched Survivor Ghost Island? She's giving me very Kellen vibes from Survivor Ghost. Not my friend, former roommate Kellen.
Former friend, roommate.
Former friend, comma roommate. But she is giving Kellen from Ghost Island vibes.
Gotcha.
Where I feel like Caroline does have a sort of strategic sense in her head.
Wait, or is it Caroline?
Sorry. No. Yes, Caroline is giving Kellen. Caroline has a strategic sense in her head, but she doesn't necessarily have the social prowess not the social prowess, but she doesn't have the social capital is what I meant to say.
Correct.
She doesn't have the social capital to sort of perform on what she would like to do, and to me that is giving Kellen.
Gotcha.
And so, very strategically sound, but maybe not at the best standing socially. Exactly. Excuse.
Oh my God, Riley's dying currently.
Sorry. It's hard when you talk for so long, you guys. And
yeah, you've never done that before.
Never yap. I'm not a yapper, y'all. Caroline is like, is it Caroline or Carolyn?
Caroline.
Caroline's like,
I think. Now you're making me.
Okay, well, we'll have to see next week. Look out for that. Caroline was like, I don't know if I can trust you. And then Gabe pulls out his idol. So now Sue and Caroline know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about to be a 3-3 split on this tribe.
And they're not scared of that.
And they're not. Really, really interesting. Really interesting. Yeah. Gabe gets a little cocky here a little bit. He has a confessional. He calls them birds. He calls these little birdies, talking about Miss Sue and Caroline, is like, these little birdies. Yeah. He feels confident he can beat them. And I said, it's only day 4, 5. This is, don't be Icarus. Don't fly too close to the sun. Because I feel like it's a 2-1. I feel like Sue and Caroline are the duo in this 3.
Yes. Absolutely.
I do feel like Sue really likes Gabe and really values that relationship. But in my head, I feel like Sue would cut Gabe before she cuts Caroline. So I'm like, don't get too confident, Gabe.
Yeah.
So that's just something to look out for. Sue, I think we cut here for a break, but then we come back and we're still sort of with the Tuku tribe a little bit. And we come back and Sue wants to take a nap. Sue wants to take a break.
On the beach.
It's been a long day.
This is a beach vacay after all.
It is a beach vacay after all. And it's been a while. And they're tired. And she just wants to do an hour. Just a quick little hour power cat nap on the beach. Her and Tiana and Kyle and TK sort of come out, lay on the beach. It's really fun. And TK is fully talking. TK and Kyle.
Loudly.
Do you think something could be pink and intense?
Perhaps.
So TK is going to go ahead and talk really loud. And that pisses Susu off.
Okay, I thought this was interesting. I don't know, why they didn't say something. I think I fully would have been like, oh, hey, I totally don't mind if you guys are going to talk, but, do you mind, scooting a bit further away if you're going to yap?
So we can all sort of be on the beach together still. I would love to still be on the beach with everybody, but...
Yeah, but, I do want to get a little shut-eye here. Just, I think there's ways you can say it nicely, or be just like, hey.
But
I thought we were going to nap.
I thought, let's play the shut the fuck up game. You go first.
You go first.
I feel like there's clearly a power structure. And this is what I'm going to give Sue. Sue is doing a really good job of understanding where she is sort of at on this tribe.
Yeah.
She knows who she's not fucking with. And she knows where she is, how she's being perceived. Which I think is really interesting and a really important thing to have in a Survivor player. I do think that there's part of her being on the bottom of the tribe for her to be like, can you guys sort of move? Sometimes that's all that takes in a Survivor or a Big Brother. Should I go on about a 45-minute rant about Big Brother?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes that's all it takes is just one little comment like that. And we'll see it later. This is sort of part of the episode, is that just one little comment.
But I'm like, no, Tiana is allegedly his number 1, and she was getting annoyed with it too. And I'm like, why didn't... Or was it Kyle, the other person?
Yes.
Why didn't he have the self-aware... He should have had the self-awareness to be like, oh my god, yeah, let's chat, but let's also scoot over. I just think there were sort of 3 people. I mean, maybe we'll take away Kyle, but Tiana and Sue. I don't know. I just, I would have told them to move. I think you can do it so nicely.
You can, but sometimes people can just... It's all about perception. If TK takes it the wrong way, and as we see this episode... it's we have evidence on the screen that just a little thing can really put somebody off on you. And Sue did have an interesting... I didn't know... I don't know if I heard her correctly. I think she called Kyle and TK, she said, male dominant broke energy.
Yeah.
And it was the broke energy that I was a little confused about in that sentence. I was like, I don't know how that sort of plays into what we're doing with here.
I think I remember that part.
And I also could have heard her wrong. I haven't
gone
back to see, and like I said, I'm sort of staying off Survivor Twitter at the moment, so I'm not too sure. But I thought that was an interesting confessional. Tiana doesn't love TK. She's starting to realize, but she does love the power.
You're right.
So she's willing to sort of play it off for now. We cut back to the Gata tribe. Sort of the Lavo tribe is not really getting any love this episode, other than Rome. But we cut back to we cut back to the Gata tribe, and Sam tells Sierra that he has the idol for one tribe. That's his bestie. And they find the idol. It's so exciting. Yay. But, I do think... Oh, yeah, I read my note wrong. They get the idol together. He didn't tell her that they got the idol. Sierra and Sam are going to go ahead and go get the idol together.
Yeah.
And which is so exciting. Yay, it's Sam's idol. This is so exciting. But then he does go ahead and tell her, hey, I think I want to play this on Andy. Oh.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Really interesting. Especially telling that to somebody who is supposed to be your, like, number one ally. Like, if I was supposed to be Sam's number one ally and he told me that he would play it on another person before he played it on me...
Yeah.
That would sort of be a little bit of a turn-off for me.
And she's also, like, friends with the other two.
Yes.
So, I don't think this was also just, like, the right way to approach it. I think I maybe would have waited a bit. Mm-hmm. Time and place.
Time and place.
And he did it at my birthday dinner.
And he did it at my birthday dinner. The girls are gagged. We get to the challenge. The girls are gagged that Andy is still in the game. Jeff notes that this is a very big reaction from the crowd, from the peanut gallery.
Yeah.
Which I understand. I think we all sort of felt the same way watching last week's episode. They are playing for fishing gear.
Woo.
So exciting. The winner gets fishing gear, immunity, 2 people win, 1 person's going to go to tribal. It's a pretty simple, run-of-the-mill Survivor challenge. They are moving, the obstacle that they're sort of moving along this episode is going to go ahead and be a bag of rice. And they sort of have to pick up the rice, put it in the water, drag it through the ocean, put it through a hole, cut it open. It's all these things.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, so heavy, whatever. They get it, and they have to cut it open. I was worried, Andy. We were doing a lot of zooming in on hands this episode as they were using the machete to cut open the bags of rice. I was getting a little worried that somebody was going to get medically evacuated because they sort of severed their hand off with a knife.
The way Andy was doing it was giving me the biggest ick.
It was the way that his hand...
God.
Let me sort of... Oh. It was sort of like this. It was sort of like...
But he was doing it like...
Yeah,
it was giving like a murder scene.
Yeah, I was like, this is definitely strange behavior.
It's giving...
But that was, I mean, what?
Well, he's AI Andy.
Of course.
So he's learning how to be human.
Oh, wow. He wasn't sort of programmed yet to understand how to hold a knife.
No, and I think that might be part of like his emotions. He's still like working out all the,
the
issues.
the kinks and the issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of feeling emotion.
Of course, as humans do, as AI does.
Right.
Right. It's a pretty a simple challenge. The Gato tribe, while they were doing the final parts of the challenge, they were doing it was sort of a maze that they had to move with the ball. It wasn't really a maze. It was like a platform snake. They had to move the ball around it. It was really exciting. Gata's in the lead. Rachel is gonna go ahead and be in the background with Andy while this is going on, and she's gonna say, "Oh my God, look at all this rice. We are so hungry."
And so I'm so resourceful.
Let me go ahead and put a couple tons of handfuls of this rice into my pockets.
Let me absolutely stuff my pockets.
Let me absolutely stuff my pockets full of rice. It'll be okay.
Yeah, do we want to talk about this now or later?
Let's talk about it later when we sort of get the reaction from the call-out moment.
Okay.
So this happens. Gata wins immunity, which is so exciting. Jeff, so mind you, this is only their 4th challenge, and... Oh, no, this is only their 3rd challenge, and Gata has won 2 of 4, or 2 of 3. I remember their first very dominant win in the premiere opening challenge.
Yeah.
Was crazy. Like, they came far from behind. And Jeff sort of made a couple comments. He was like, Gata in the lead. That's not something they're used to. And I'm like, this is the 3rd challenge, and this is the 2nd challenge that they've come first in. It was only 1 challenge that they've lost. So,
yeah.
I don't know if that's true,
And
Jeff.
it sent them to tribal, but, like... it's fine.
But they have a 2 out of 3. They have a 60% win rate.
Yeah.
So, but that was sort of that. They, Gata and Lava win. They're gonna send Tuku to tribal, and then I guess it's not that far down the line. Jeff is like, everybody go back to your camps, and he's like, well, before I send you, Rachel,
Miss Rachel,
do you have anything you'd like to share with the group?
Yeah. Okay. I was kind of annoyed that Jeff made her dump her pockets out. Because I feel like, I don't know how often he says it now, but he's always like, the game is what you make it. The game is like, fluid. It's up to you how you want to play the game. Did anyone at any point say, don't take the rice?
No.
So that was her making it her game.
I know she said, you're going to make us move some rice. I'm going to take some rice.
Well, yeah. And like, if it's open sitting there, I feel like that's totally valid for her to take it.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, I guess I'm not too strong, and like, I'm not too strong either way. I'm not like, she should have 100% been able to take it. But I'm like, I don't disagree. If she was going to play the game, she can play the game. People like steal beads all the time to make their little fake idols. People have stolen things around camp to do whatever they want to do. And I'm like, why not? I mean, I don't see why not.
I don't think it's that deep. Like, I don't understand why they didn't let her do it. I think it would have been like, okay, it happened this time, like, and then in the future, they can say like, hey, don't do that again.
I will say what I am appreciative of production and Jeff doing is not villainizing her over this. Like, I think that's where I would have drawn the line if they were like, Rachel, stealing from the challenge is unethical, and then painting her survivor character as a sort of like, in a sort of way.
Yeah.
That would have been a no for me. I would have been like, they should not have done that. But I think Jeff sort of making it a comedic moment and being like, girl, dump out your pockets. And she's like, why should I have to dump out my pockets? He's like, girl, don't play with me, dump out your pockets. I think the best approach should have been just letting her take it.
And she was like, hey, it was worth a shot.
I know. I think that what you say, Jeff, it's always worth a shot.
Yeah.
So I thought it was silly. I think it would have been fun if she was able to take it, but I'm personally not like.
I think it just annoyed me on like the principle of it, and I feel like Jeff recently was like, the game is alive. Like I just feel like he's like, it's up to what you make it.
That's a great point, because I haven't thought about it like that. Again, this happened about last night. I haven't seen anybody on Twitter engage. Like, I've been trying to avoid. And again, that's usually sort of what forms, because I'm a terrible person, and my opinions form on the opinions of others. But I was like, to me, I hadn't thought about it that way, where it's sort of a, they're consistently pushing in this new era that it should be free flowing and just happen how it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I think it would have been different if, like, at the next challenge, they make a comment like, oh, so Rachel, we saw that you brought rice back to your kid from that. Like, you're resourceful, but, like, we want to make it known from here on out, don't do that.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to get hung up on this.
Yeah. But it's interesting. It was a fun little moment. Nothing like this has happened before. Stealing has happened on Survivor, but nothing, I think, this specific has happened. But it was interesting. Yeah. Gato and Lavo go back to their camp. So we're sort of left with the blue tribe.
Gato and Lava. They really did that.
They really did. And that's gonna get my ass. And a few people are smiling on the blue mat. Who in particular, we don't know. Jeff says, there's a lot of smiles going on around here, and asks Tiana first. And is like, Tiana, what's the feeling? And Tiana's like, I just smile and like when I'm stressed or whatever, was something basically what she said.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm just like trying to be a good sport about what's happened, blah, blah, blah. And TK goes, well, I'm mad people here are smiling. We're losers. We shouldn't be happy for losing. We just lost the challenge.
What?
And Tiana is rolling her eyes, and is... I'll ask you, how do you feel about this reaction?
Well, I can relate to Tiana, because I feel like I'm a nervous smiler, a nervous laugher, and when I'm feeling uncomfortable, or like, especially Like, you know the cameras are on you.
Can we role play?
Yeah.
I'm at camp.
Uh-huh.
And I'm fighting somebody at camp, and you're sort of just sitting there. I hate you. I hope your mother watches this TV program and she sees the kind of liar that you are. You have set me up to fail. You have set me up to be miserable in this game, and I'm going home tonight, and it is your fault. I will be on the jury and know that I will have everybody on the jury not voting for you.
Oh,
you do not deserve to win, and you don't deserve to be here.
And that,
Sort
was,
of what
that
is your
directed, was that directed at me or someone else?
Somebody else, but you're sort of like
okay.
on looking as it's happening.
I think I'd be like, that's crazy.
And then I see you laughing, and I look at you, and I go,
I just like, I don't know. I'm a laugher. I'm a smiler all the time. And it doesn't mean that I'm like always happy. It's just like, I just
and a reaction
laugh.
to what's happening.
Yeah. So
Now
like,
imagine my mom walked in after I did all that little performance. My mom is not here right now, so we're sort of avoiding that reaction. But
oh,
I agree. Well, okay, no, great. I'm not really a nervous laugher, nervous like smiler or laughter. That's not something I often do. But I will say that I don't love a. What's the word I'm looking for? Not a moral high ground, because I don't think it's morals that's in question. Like a sort of competitive high ground. I don't like that on a Survivor player.
yeah.
And I think that's sort of a red flag in somebody's game. If somebody's too proud in their competitiveness,
Yeah.
I'm like, you're going to have to take L's in Survivor. Excuse me. There's a very few people in the 47 seasons and the international seasons, if you take all this in consideration, there are very few winning games where you hit 0 roadblocks.
Yeah. That's,
Where everything sort of works out perfectly for you. 0. There's very, very little games. And if you're going to go into Survivor feeling like this competition and the feeling of competitiveness and being competitive, I think is a key factor into somebody that play Survivor. I think it's important that you have some sort of competitiveness, because you need that like edge. You need something that's like pushing you forward. Like you need that like want to do well. But if you're overly competitive, especially at the tribe level of the game,
exactly. Like, I would say I'm a very competitive person, but on a team thing like that, it's just not the same.
it's not.
Like,
you can't control that. Like, it's not your own individual outcome.
and I also think it's different with like playing a sport where you and your teammates are practicing and doing things over and over and over again. Where like when I would play soccer, I would get frustrated when I'm like, how have we been playing this long and you don't understand like how to do these things? Like, why are we still messing this up? Like, things like that would really upset me. But like on a team where you have no control over, like, you can't practice for this really unless you're crazy. But like, you're all just random people at the end of the day. Like,
And you
why
know
is
nothing
it that
about
deep?
them and their It's not that deep.
And like, it just makes you look bad.
It does make you look bad. It looks like you're sort of obsessive.
A sore loser.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think people want that around for morale. Like, you shouldn't. I shouldn't want to be tense after. I feel bad. I didn't want to lose that challenge.
That's the thing, is like, no one wants to lose. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't.
He's making it sound like people were okay with losing,
Which
and I
is
don't think that was
not-
the case.
No.
So that's sort of the vibe. We see some cracks a little bit in Paradise here. Tiana is upset with TK and his reaction. TK is upset with... Well, it's not really they're upset with each other. I think they're upset with the situation, I think, is more what happens. We get back to the tribe camp, and Tiana and TK are low-key at each other's throats. Not directly, but it's very, like, Tiana is upset with TK and his reaction, and TK is not necessarily annoyed at Tiana specifically, but more annoyed at the fact that that people were giving off this, like,
They weren't taking it seriously.
they weren't taking it seriously. Again, not directed specifically at Tiana. And Kyle's like, we need to keep this together.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like, this, we can't be cracking at the first sign of negativity or something. Again, not the specific word I want to use, but you guys get what I'm saying. We can't crack at the first signs of deflection, whatever. Kyle, I thought this was a funny confessional. He admits that, he can survive in the wild. That's not something he's worried about. He's a country boy. But when it comes to the strategy of the game and it comes to really thinking about the numbers and things, that's something that he's not necessarily prepared for.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? Not everybody, you can't be great. You know what? He can't know everything. You can't know everything.
And that's what I've always said.
And
that's what you've always said.
Literally what I've always said since day one. Tiana has this confessional, where she says, I want to be a good player and remove all of my emotion from this game. Like, I want to play an emotionless game. Does that make a good player?
No.
Does a good player make an emotionless game?
No. I think you need emotions. Like, this design is very human. I feel like...
AI Andy.
Yeah, Andy. I feel like you need to have some sort of emotions. And I feel like it helps you connect to other people. And I think your emotions play a big part in, I think they should play a part in the decisions you make. I think, she obviously has a lot of deep problems with TK that I don't think would easily be resolved in, into a good working relationship. And I think that's valid. I would not work with people based on, how I feel, You want to play a game that I feel like you want to, at the end of the day, it's a game and you should also, have fun. And I think removing all emotions from it is just, I don't think that's a good way to last out there either. How long can you do that before you break?
Yeah. I feel like even, again, some of the best players who've had zero flaws in their game, they may not have played... So what did I say?
Someone who's had no flaws in their game.
And won, yeah.
And won.
They might be noted. I'm thinking of Kim Spradlin. I'm thinking of Boston Rob's winning season. You might note them as more emotionless players, but I don't think they're void of all emotion.
No, and again, I don't know. I don't know them personally, but I doubt in their head they're no emotion, no emotion, no emotion.
If anything, they're emotion is an important part of this game, and I'm going to use that against people.
Exactly.
Which is playing an emotional game.
Yeah.
And again, I think there's more nuance to what there's more nuance to both Boston Rob and Kim Spradlin's games specifically. But there's more nuance to what Tiana was saying. I don't think Tiana was saying that she's gonna play a game void of all emotion. But I did, when she said that, I thought that was an interesting thing to talk about, because I'm how you can't be emotionless. There has to, even in your strategy, there has to be emotion behind the decisions you make.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think that's the point that Tiana was trying to make.
Get Tiana on the pod.
Sometimes it's fun to have hypothetical questions that we sort of ask ourselves and discuss.
Right.
So, the trio seems to hold over. Tiana realizes that this is not probably the moment that this should break up. They make up a little bit. They hug. TK is I'm not mad at you specifically. It was just the scenario.
And he's also I wish you would have talked to me about
this.
Which I do think is, also a valid point. If, how is he supposed to see what he's doing is wrong? And, I think you need to tell him how you feel about things. If you do want to...
Communication is key.
Forward. Communication is key.
We be talking.
We be yapping.
Sue seems to be the target. This trio, the Tiana, TK, Kyle. I also thought it was so funny. I went, oh my god, Tiana, TK, Kyle.
Yeah, wow.
It's sort of like Tiana and Kyle, their ship name is TK. Oh my god, but TK is also a person.
Right.
I literally got the mind of a mastermind, y'all. I am playing. That's the degree at work right there, y'all. That is the degree at work. They are holding it over, this trio. They want Sue gone. And TK is confident that he has Gabe wrapped around his finger and that Gabe will, quote, do anything. TK says that he is playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers. The overconfidence is crazy.
Oh, it's cringe.
I just don't think this early in the game, again, talking about some of the best Survivor players ever, I don't think this early in the game you are at the second tribal, not even the second, it's your tribe's first tribal. Your tribe hasn't voted yet. You do not know the real sort of lines of your tribe until the vote happens.
Yeah.
And so I think there is an overconfidence that TK has the game solved up until this point, when in reality nothing has been tested yet. Like nothing has been put in actual
No
work.
other moves have been made by other.
No,
by
nothing has
anyone.
happened yet. So like you don't even know if the work that he like there's no way for him to know if the work he's been putting in up until this point is work that has been working.
Right.
Or if it's just been all face. So I'm like, it's just too confident this early in the game. Like, you have to wait a little bit. You have to get a visualization of the lines in the game.
Yeah.
To be able to make claims like this. To make claims that you're playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers.
Yeah. Also, how embarrassing would that be to watch back?
Knowing you're going home.
Yeah.
Like, that is too much for me. That would have gotten my ass. Gabe knows he's at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And you know what? He says that they know that they need to get Tiana on their side to sort of even out the votes here. But he's willing to go to rocks.
They're all willing to go to rocks.
Everybody's willing to go to rocks. And
They're
you know what
willing
I think
to take
is
that chance.
really interesting is everybody says, I'm good with going to rocks. I'm good with going to rocks. Yeah, nobody does. Oh yeah, but nobody does.
It's always rocks. But
and nothing. The closest we got in this new era was 42. When, what's his name, Daniel almost went to rocks. That would have been so exciting. No, Daniel didn't want to go to rock. Anyway, sorry, I don't exactly remember what happened there. But I remember Mr. Mike was there at that tribal. Our friend Mike. And hi. Anyway, I was really excited for the idea of rocks. I don't know if you noticed this because you weren't viewing on PST, but... Did you see do you know the famous ad that has Love Pink in it? Has Pink, Beyonce, pretty sure Christina Aguilera, Shakira maybe. It's the Pepsi Super Bowl ad, and they're singing We Will Rock You, and they're in a Rome era arena.
I don't remember this.
This is a very key point in gay culture. But they're saying, we will rock you. Well, just saw the ad. They remade the ad with Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh.
You don't remember this ad at all?
I might.
Let me see if I can pull up a picture real quick. I'll just keep talking while I'm looking. We get to Tribal, and I want to have the conversation that last week we were talking about whether or not Tribal was covered.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I tried to look at pictures, and we couldn't find anything. We did find that sickening picture of Andy on the ground, sort of after he passed out.
Right.
But we couldn't figure it out. But then it was sort of highlight, the rain and the lightning was sort of highlighted this episode, and I was like,
yeah.
is that our answer to our question?
Yeah, I thought tribals were never fully covered.
They have been covered. Oh, is that what the argument was last time? You were like, things haven't been covered?
Yeah.
Things have been covered in the past. Like
full cover.
Thailand's
In the last...
I know Thailand's was in a cave.
The last one?
Last season was in a gondola.
I thought it was open air, though.
It was open air. It's not like an enclosed building.
No, I know that, but I didn't think there was a roof.
Okay, wait, let me see. Survivor 46.
I thought that was part of it, and then they get rained on.
Council set.
And
I think sometimes it's windy. Oh, you know what? Read me. So I'm sort of looking at the picture now, and it's gonna go ahead and look like they're not covered at all.
Right.
So it's gonna go ahead and look like they're not
actually,
covered.
I don't think that any of the
I
new
feel like they have
been.
Okay, well, so I'm gonna go ahead and be looking at. Nope, this one's not covered. Nope, that one's gonna go ahead and be not covered. I think Thailand was covered. I think China's was covered.
How long ago was that?
Okay, well, mind your fucking business.
Was China covered? I swear I have it in my brain that they've I'm not doubting you. I don't remember.
China's was covered because remember the walls and they were sort of inside.
But was there a top?
They were in a Tribal's Council set was built from the ground. Okay, I did think that they sort of used a pre-built building. An impressive feat considering it looks like an ancient Chinese pagoda that's been there since the bygone dynasties. The entire theme of the 15th century was related to Chinese culture. No expense or detail was swapped. This set was impressive. Chinese characters, dragons, bamboo.
Okay, maybe they did.
I think some of them have been covered, but I will say that you are more correct. That I think in the history of Survivor, I believe probably more have been uncovered.
Look at this picture. I don't know what.
That is 46.
Yeah,
correct?
There's no.
Yeah, and I did admit that. I said, yeah, that one's going to go ahead and be not covered as I started looking at pictures of it. Maybe if I typed in...
I can't find a single one that is covered.
Covered Survivor.
Ooh. I can't find China. They're all the...
I need a Survivor historian in the building.
Survivor...
I guess... Which one is this one? This one, Survivor San Juan del Sur, looks a little covered. I feel like Survivor Micronesia was covered, maybe. Maybe they're not. Maybe just I'm getting the false idea of like walls built around them, and the walls are sort of giving me the energy that these are covered.
See, I have always assumed they were open.
And I think you might be right.
Like every single one, every single picture I'm seeing is the sky.
So you're gonna go ahead and be able to see the sky from every single tribal council set.
I'm actually cracking up at this.
Well, it was notably smaller than the other sets.
Like, yes, no, you're definitely right. There are walls, but there is also
and
sky.
I think we just don't often see above the walls. I think
because I always assumed it was like pitched.
But you know what we do get every single episode is sort of a bird's eye view of tribal council where you can sort of see see the seats from the sky.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, oh yeah, you're.
Yeah. I'm loving this.
Is there somebody I can email? Can I talk to somebody about this?
Talk to someone's manager about this.
Let me look.
I can't. Every single picture I see is open.
Okay, famously, you know who would? I wonder. David Bloomberg. David Bloomberg is like the Survivor historian, but I wonder if he has like an email that I can sort of like email and say, "Hey, do you know?"
What season did you say was it Thailand?
I said Thailand, maybe.
Thailand tribal.
He doesn't really have a sort. Maybe if I at him on Twitter.
So that one that one has a roof, but it's not a cave. It says, in case you forgot how cool the tribal council set.
Yeah, I did think it was in a cave. I think maybe the first... Oh, no. You know what took place in a cave that season was their final immunity challenge took place in a cave in Thailand.
Anyways.
Back on track a little bit there. Sorry. Okay. I mess up a little bit of Survivor history every once in a while.
It's okay. I love your confidence, though.
Thank you. Sue, Jeff is questioning them. Sue I thought this was a really interesting point she makes. She calls out the gender imbalance right away. And she says that the men are on top and the girls are on the bottom. And she directly calls out the split line that has occurred. And I thought that was interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see how Sue is with her words, but she's very confident in the things she says. And I feel like that was very deliberate. Like, I don't think she slipped up. Like, I think she knew what she was saying, which I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Tiana and TK said that it's not that direct. Like, the lines are not that split, which I think was a bad answer, because I feel like if I'm Sue and Caroline, I'm immediately being like, oh, clock into that. They're definitely working together.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having some audio issues.
Oh.
But I did find this one picture of a survivor.
Oh, you were still...
That has a roof.
I sort of moved... Oh, has a roof. Is it a real one?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I can't even tell what season it's from. Anyways. Land the plane.
Land the plane. TK thinks his reality is the reality. And because he's like, Sue hasn't really been connecting with people. And Sue said, that's not true. And TK is like, well, you haven't been connecting with me. And she was like, I've been trying. And he was like, have you really been trying? I just realized I've been talking. You fully cannot see my mouth. TK is like that. I don't think Sue is well placed on this tribe because her and I don't have a relationship. But Sue is basically like, just because I don't have a relationship with you doesn't mean I don't have a relationship with the others. Again, I think she's very careful with her words because she's not specifically being like, I'm better positioned than you think. She's like, I just don't think that that's the case. Which I think is so silly. I wrote that Miss Sue is sitting on a bad boy piece of information. What did I... Oh, I sort of wrote, question equals answered, tribal is not covered. I sort of forgot that the argument... And I'm glad that you sort of corrected me. I'm glad that the argument was, for some reason, I feel... I guess last episode, my argument was that this wasn't covered and that most aren't. Or that most are covered, is what I said. And you said that most aren't covered.
Right.
And so when I sort of revised history a little bit in my head, and I was like, yeah, it's not covered, but that was sort of the argument you were making last episode, is you said they were, in fact, not covered. Maybe.
Okay, humble.
Anyway. I know. That was a really good moment for me. I'll put that on my resume. I was confused in the moment. I said, why did Gabe just play this idol on himself? And then I thought about the fact that they could have possibly been going to Rocks, and that was a very smart move to make to save himself from getting eliminated from Rocks. So I wasn't too mad at it. And Gabe ends up playing the idol on himself. Rocks may happen. Update, they do not happen because they got his ass. It's a 5-1 vote, I believe. TK specifically, yes.
I think there were 2 for Sue.
2 for Susu?
Yeah.
I think, now that I'm thinking about it,
I thought,
right.
TK and Kyle.
Survivor episode 2. Votes. We'll see if something comes up. No, I think you're right. I think it was going to go ahead and be a 4-2 vote with Tiana flipping. And that's it. I did, in fact, forget when I was taking notes that this is going to go ahead and be a 90-minute episode. 9 o'clock rolled around last night, and I went, yes, we're done. Again, flashback, I did have about a 9-hour travel day yesterday, and it was slightly traumatic near the end of it, so I was like, it's going to be done soon, and then it was not done. Yes, it looks like it was 2 votes for Sue, 4 votes for TK. And Kyle was the one that voted Sue with TK. So that's it.
So I was right. Thank you.
You were. I was just double checking.
Oh, because you don't trust me.
No, I wanted to help prove your point.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
I love women.
Right. And you've always said that.
I've always said that, and I want to support them. So.
Period.
And that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Thank y'all for watching. I didn't do power rankings. I forgot to write them down last night when I was watching the episode. But to continue my power ranking streak, I would say I still have Sam at the top of the power ranking. And I maybe would not put Caroline. I did have her in my top 3. I think I called her... What did I call her last episode? Do you remember? I forgot what I called her, but then I went... I don't think we were both like, there's not somebody by that name on the cast. And I went, oh, it's Caroline. I would still say I have Sam at the top. I think I would put Rachel up there as well. And maybe Tiana. So I think my distinctive ranking would maybe... I have Asia up there too, because I still feel like she's positioned well. So I think I'd say Sam, Asia, Rachel, and Tiana, I think would sort of be my power ranking for the episode. For those who are keeping up. But that's it. Maddie, do you have anything else to say?
No. I think that covers it.
Okay. Thank you all for watching for another episode of the Making Fire podcast. If you liked, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Making Fire Pod, which you're listening to this on right now. If you want more content, make sure to follow us on TikTok, I was doing so good. I haven't said Tumblr in so long, you guys. Make sure to follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can get more content. So fun.
Right. But I actually get the clips.
Thank you for clocking in. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.
I can't.